Today, I'm tackling not one, not two, but three spaces in my son and daughter in law's new home. Their upstairs bathroom, the adjoining dressing room, and the hallway outside just don't match the rest of their home at all. The paint colors are tired, the lighting is dated, and the walls are bare. So, over the course of one weekend, I'm going to paint, decorate, and give all three spaces a fresh, budget friendly makeover. I think you're going to be surprised at how much of a difference these simple changes can make. And hopefully, you'll get a few ideas you can use in your own home too. The first order of business is painting the bathroom and dressing room walls. Although I don't mind the blue color, Amaya doesn't like it. You might remember from an earlier video that her kitchen was painted this same color, and we painted over it with a creamy white paint to match the color of the cabinets, which made the kitchen look much bigger and brighter. And she wanted to do the same thing in the bathroom by painting the walls white to match the subway tiles. There was only one towel rack in the bathroom, so I removed it and patched the wall with spackle and ordered a budget friendly set of towel racks from Amazon. Although Amaya and I both prefer warm brass finishes, we ordered brushed nickel towel racks because the accent tiles are in cool blue tones and the existing fixtures are all silver, and we don't have the budget to replace everything. I'm pretty sure the vanity light is original to this old house. It's very Art Deco in design, and it seems much too large and heavy for such a small bathroom. When I removed it, it looked like the walls were originally painted a peachy terracotta color, which seems like an odd choice since the tub is blue and the original sink and toilet were likely also blue. To replace the light, we chose a brushed nickel fixture with white shades, similar to the living room sconces and the dining room chandelier. I spread spackle over the area where the original light had been and let it dry. Then I sanded it smooth and reapplied spackle where it was needed and repeated this process. Then I painted over the spackle with the white wall paint. The original mirror was rather small, especially in comparison to that large Art Deco light. So I thrifted a slightly larger oval mirror. It looks like someone had started to refinish it, so I just finished the job by painting it with some navy paint I had left over from a previous project. The mirror had two D-rings on the back, so I marked on the wall where one nail needed to go. And then I used the painter's tape trick to make sure that the two nails were level and spaced out perfectly. I used large picture hanger hooks, not just nails, because this mirror is heavy. I needed to address the low shower head. At first, I thought we might have to call a plumber, but when I went to Lowe's, I found a Delta shower head with a swing arm that would allow me to raise the shower head above the low water pipe, and I was able to install it myself. I just needed to unscrew the existing shower head and remove the old plumber's tape from the threading on the pipe. Then I applied fresh plumber's tape and simply screwed on the new shower head, and it only cost $60. The previous owners left their old shower curtain behind, but it was another shade of blue that Amaya disliked. So I ordered a white one with a navy border. In case you're wondering, navy is the only shade of blue that Amaya likes. And she loves the trendy scallop design of the trim. I was so excited to find this vintage wool rug at Goodwill for only $8. What a great deal! As you guys know, I've been helping my son and daughter-in-law with their new home, doing everything from room makeovers to less glamorous jobs, like cleaning the toilet. And I'm going to be really honest here. For most of my life, I have used whatever cleaning products got the job done. And I never gave any thought to how the ingredients or the packaging might be affecting my family and the environment. But most detergents and cleaning products come in large plastic bottles or single-use packaging that over time breaks down into microplastics that end up in our homes, in our water, and in our food. And when I realized that, I knew I needed to make a change. That's why I switched to using Blueland products and why I'm sharing it with them.
Their products are concentrated tablets with no single-use plastic, and they come in compostable packaging. Instead of storing bulky bottles or tossing plastic pods, you just drop in a tablet. And here's the best part. These products actually work. Whether it's the toilet cleaner, the laundry tablets, or anything else, Blueland cleans every bit as well, if not better, than the big name brands I used to buy.
And right now, Blueland is offering my viewers a special discount. Just use the link in the description box below or the QR code on the screen to get 15% off your first kit. I recently thrifted this cute chipmunk print to use in one of the spare bedrooms, but I'm going to put the print in a vintage frame. So I decided to use the black frame in the bathroom. I printed out an image of tulips in a dark blue vase. Since I needed a large size, I sent it to the Walmart Photo Center. Just choose a poster size and upload the image like you would a regular photo. It's an inexpensive way to get a high quality print. For the adjacent wall, I thrifted a decorative shelf. It's small enough that there is still room to add a towel ring between the shelf and the mirror. Although it adds interest to this wall, I would like to find a shelf to fit this space that would also provide some practical storage. To complement the bathroom's fixtures, I thrifted a pair of cute silver flower-shaped candlesticks. I also thrifted a large faux plant, and I want to repurpose some of the greenery from the plant by adding a few stems to a small silver pot that I also thrifted. I didn't have any styrofoam handy, so for a temporary fix, I just stuffed some newspaper in the cup to hold the stems in place. The shelf is rather small, so I decided to use just one of the candlesticks next to the faux plant. For some additional artwork, I thrifted two bamboo-style silver frames. At first, I was planning on replacing the prints, but then I decided to wait and see if Amaya liked the Chinese calligraphy. The bathroom opens into a narrow room with a closet. Someday the kids would like to turn this into a laundry room, but for now, we're going to make it a pretty dressing room. The plain side wall was just begging for wallpaper. So I picked up some peel and stick paper at Lowe's in a navy and white leaf design. I measured the wall and pre-cut the first piece. Before applying it, I sprayed the wall with Roman Easy Hang spray. This product allows you to adjust the paper on the wall, and it reduces air bubbles and wrinkles. It basically makes applying peel and stick wallpaper similar to hanging traditional paper, but without the mess of wallpaper paste everywhere. So I wallpapered this wall in about the same time that it would have taken me to paint it. For the small wall on the side of the opening to the bathroom, I cut a separate skinny piece to make it easier to apply and to avoid wasting a bunch of wallpaper. A professional installer would never do this, but the horizontal seam is barely noticeable. I did the same thing around the window. I barely had enough paper left to finish this wall, so I wasn't able to perfectly match up the pattern in one spot, but I doubt anyone will notice. Amaya found an unopened box of window blinds in a closet that must have been purchased for this dressing room window because it fit perfectly inside the window frame. It was super easy to install. I just screwed the brackets into the inner window frame, and then the blinds literally snap onto the brackets. The sliding closet doors had no track on the floor, so they would sway back and forth when you touched them. I found a floor guide on Amazon for $7 that easily attached to the floor with 2 screws. I just needed to use a ceramic drill bit to drill holes into the tile floor. Since the vanity in the bathroom is small, I thrifted this little vanity table to give Amaya a place to put on her makeup. We decided to paint it navy, but first I scrubbed it with a TSP substitute cleaner using extra fine steel wool and then wiping it off with a damp cloth. I also tightened up the drawer joints with a few brad nails. If you saw last week's video, you heard me talk about Beyond Paint, a gel-like all-in-one paint. I used it on the kids' bedroom furniture and it was amazing. So I ordered some more, this time in navy. I think it must have been an old jar because it had small clumps in it that no amount of stirring would get rid of. I tried using it anyway, but when it dried, it looked purple. So I grabbed the navy paint that I had used on the bathroom mirror and used that as my final coat. Once the paint was dry, I placed the vanity under the window in the dressing room and added a cute little chair that I thrifted for $25. I found both the table and the chair at my local Habitat Restore. When I was at Lowe's, I saw this little rechargeable lamp on clearance for $10 and thought it would fit nicely on this small vanity. I think it's nice to have a full length mirror somewhere in the house. And it just so happened that my father in law found this one free on the curb. I wanted to spray paint it, so I completely covered the mirror with cardboard and tape. Then I gave it a light coat of Zinsser primer, followed by 2 coats of a navy blue spray paint. The wall space next to the closet in the dressing room was the perfect spot for a full-length mirror. To hang it, I once again used the painter's tape trick to make sure my picture hanging hooks were perfectly spaced to hold the 2 D-rings on the back of the mirror. I didn't want to cover up the pretty wallpaper, but I just couldn't resist hanging this pretty blue floral print next to the vanity table. Now for the third and final space, the hallway. First, we painted over the green paint in the stairwell and the lemon lime paint in the hallway, using the same creamy white paint we used in the living room. For the most part, Amaya prefers a neutral palette with just pops of color. For architectural interest, I wanted to add some molding to the wall at the top of the stairs. I had some molding left over from other projects that I wanted to use. I cut the molding into 2 4-foot pieces and 2 2-foot pieces, cutting the ends at 45-degree angles to fit together like a picture frame. This is actually a very easy project. You just need to make sure each piece of molding is level before nailing it to the wall. Then fill in the corner seams and the nail holes with caulk to give it a finished look. I repeated this process to add a smaller frame to the lower portion of the wall. Here's a little trick I use. I always put the first nail in the center of the molding to hold it in place. Then I make sure it's level before adding any additional nails. If the first three pieces are level, the fourth piece will automatically be level when you align the corners together. I painted the bottom frame of molding to match the walls, but to make a dramatic statement, I painted the upper frame with the ripe olive paint that I used on the fireplace wall in the living room. To create an art installation inside the frame, I first installed a battery operated picture light, just like the one I used in the primary bedroom. I had previously ordered a package of 3 of these lights. I measured to make sure that it was perfectly centered between the 2 side pieces of molding. For the artwork, I thrifted 3 black frames with white mats and an old daily planner with Ansel Adams photographs. I cut out 3 photographs from the date book and taped them to the back of the picture frame mats to create some very budget-friendly art. I evenly spaced out the 3 frames below the picture light, again, making sure they were centered between the 2 sides of molding. One of the frames had a few scratches, which I concealed with just the tiniest amount of black acrylic paint. The hallway, stairwell, and dressing room all had those boob lights that were so popular in the 1990s. All 3 were slightly different, but equally boring. So I ordered 3 vintage style etched glass fixtures from Amazon, similar to the lights that I installed in the kitchen. I ordered 2 with black metal bases for the hallway and stairwell, but I ordered one with a silver base for the dressing room. I have been really impressed with these lights. Although they're inexpensive, they are well made and they come with the mounting hardware and everything you need for installation. And they are infinitely prettier than those cheap boob lights. You know that any span of empty, boring wall space is an invitation to add something interesting or pretty. And I had just the thing for the hallway. My brother recently gave me this oversized framed botanical that was being thrown out at the hospital where he works. I love that its colors include the blue of the bathroom and the green of the stairwell. Well, the rooms are done and the weekend is over. I hope you'll let me know what you think of these 3 small space makeovers. I'm so curious to hear what you think. Which of these 3 spaces had the biggest transformation? Let me know in the comments. And if you missed any of the previous videos in this whole house makeover series, I've linked them here for you. Thanks so much for watching today. Hope to see you next week.